Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just some DCU stuff. Sounds pretty simple. So at the forefront of most people's minds when it comes to this new DC universe heading our way, under the leadership of course of James Gunn, is Superman Legacy, which makes sense. It's the first major thing to come out under it. Of course, Creature Commandos and maybe that Amanda Waller series will come out beforehand, but Superman Legacy is, what's going to sell people for the most part on what is being cooked here by Mr. Gunn. If that doesn't deliver to people, they'll be like, oh, am I that excited for everything else coming our way? But, I think most people have faith that there'll be something decent coming our way. But what about after Superman Legacy? What is hitting us in this soon-to-be period after that? Well, we might have a good hint now as to what will follow that, or at least an inkling, and also some potential details around that specific project, as well as another project that hasn't, been confirmed yet, but might have its main player attached to it already as well, though it's a project that I think most people assume is going to happen anyway, just because of other, hints that there have been over the past year or so. But anyway, let's get into it all. So this is coming from the unverified part or section of the DCEU leaks subreddit, which essentially means, as the name would suggest, it's from an unverified source, not from a scooper who has a decent hit rate percentage or someone that's known to the subreddit in a major way or anything like that. However, from time to time, these unverified sources do drop legit stuff, so you take it with a grain of salt, but it's obviously interesting just to go over it for the sake of discussion and also give thoughts on some other things that have, come out connected to it. But yeah, just keep that in mind. It's not verified, just take it with a grain of salt, all that good stuff. So the first stuff we're going to go over is in regards to the upcoming Green Lantern show on HBO Max. Not the other one that is no longer happening, but the James Gunn related Green Lantern show, which will of course be simply entitled Lanterns. This is of course focusing on Hal Jordan and John Stewart and some intergalactic threats and mystery going on. So I'm just going to read out all of the ones that came out for Lanterns and then we'll discuss them. So firstly, Lanterns will comprise of 10 episodes. Nathan Fillion has signed for 3 episodes as Guy Gardner, obviously previously cast in that role for Superman Legacy. James Gunn has been eyeing Patrick Schwarzenegger for the role of Hal Jordan, although as far as they're aware, no offer has been made. There isn't a release date yet, but it's supposed to be the first show that airs after Superman Legacy premieres. Now, that's just it for the thing that was on the subreddit, but along with this, it does appear that Damon Lindelof, who was responsible for Lost, HBO's Watchmen series, and The Leftovers, which is one of my favorite shows ever, he'll be associated with this show in some capacity, whether that be just as a producer in some capacity or potentially the showrunner. Now, it hasn't been confirmed either way, but it seems like he is going to be affiliated with this show in particular. Now, James Gunn does follow Damon Lindelof, bit of a tongue twister, and there has been some back and forth between them on Instagram in particular. Considering the mysterious nature this show is supposed to have, and there's going to be something like underlying mystery which connects to the larger parts of the DCU going forward, at least based off what James Gunn has said and hinted at when he initially revealed the series at the start of the year, Lindelof seems like a great choice considering his track record, specifically with those 3 shows I mentioned. But let's go back to those original things that were mentioned from the subreddit and just give my thoughts on them. So in regards to it being 10 episodes, I mean, that seems like it's in the ballpark. I expect a lot of these series that Gunn does for HBO Max is within the 8 to 10 episode range. It just seems like a solid range to tell a decent story that isn't too short, but also not too long. Sometimes with 13 episode miniseries, if we assume they're miniseries and there's not going to be a season 2, they can sometimes just stretch it a bit too far, or you might feel the need to cram stuff in there that doesn't have to be there. So 10 sounds about right, but I'd expect, as I said before, most of these series to be 8 to 10 episodes. I'm not too sure how many episodes Peacemaker was, but I think that might have been more than 10, but I might be wrong. In regards to Nathan Fillion being signed on for 3 episodes as Guy Gardner, I mean, obviously, it's not a surprise he's Guy Gardner because he's playing that role in Superman Legacy. In regards to signing on for 3 episodes, I'm curious to see why, if that makes sense. No, it's not offense to the character, but it's wondering why. I wonder if it's just because they just need him. There's a part where they just need another Green Lantern or someone affiliated with the Lantern Corps to help them in some way. Yeah, interesting. I guess I think the big thing there just sort of matters on the people that are cast specifically as Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in regards to the chemistry there. Like I've always said when it comes to Superman Legacy, I don't think this is a great casting, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. But when this stuff was coming out, I saw people complaining that he was showing up again. I'm like, well, if there's one place for the character to show up again that makes sense, it's in the goddamn Green Lantern show. So it's not too much of a surprise. I think 3 episodes is a lot if that's going to be the case. You think it'd be like a 1 episode thing, but it's no surprise at the same time. And also, James Gunn had said that, I think it was like specifically referencing Nathan Fillion, that like, you know, they're going to show up in other projects, but he just didn't say what. But I think most people assume that Green Lantern, or the Green Lantern show, would be a suitable place for the character to show up, considering he's a Green Lantern. But people probably won't like it too much, especially if they hate the casting. I don't love the casting. I don't really like it that much at all. I think it's a bad casting, but I don't hold that much of a grudge where I'd vomit seeing the character show up again. Like, I wouldn't care too much. It fits. I can get over a bad casting, and I think Nathan Fillion's a good actor, so I'm pretty sure he'd get over that bump. So yeah, I'm not going to get angry at it, but a lot of people are getting pretty triggered about this if it is true. Now, it says here that James Gunn has been eyeing Patrick Schwarzenegger, which is big honor. That sounded nothing like Arnold, but it's his son, of course. Now, he was in Gen V. I've not watched that show, so I'm assuming that's maybe where this, because I don't know if he was in anything else in a major way. I'd assume he was, but that's the only thing that I had seen online about, like, oh, he's in this movie, or he's in this TV series. So I haven't watched it, so I don't know how good or bad he is. I saw pictures. He could play it, but the thing is that I think there was a report coming out that Hal Jordan's meant to be the older one, and like Jon Stewart's the younger one. And he just doesn't seem like the guy to play the older Green Lantern. You think he'd be casting someone in their like 40s or at least late 30s. I don't know how old he is, but he was playing like a teenager, wasn't he? Like in that, or like at least a early 20s, late teens or something in that show, in that Gen V show. So yeah, I don't know. Based off that, I don't know if it's that great of a casting, but yeah, it seemed like they were going for an older person, and like older as in like middle-aged, or, you know, early 40s or something. So yeah, I don't know. And also you expect, you know, Hal Jordan to continue on to movies and stuff. So this information is actually the thing that makes me very sus about it. It just doesn't seem like the person they'd be going for Hal Jordan. So unless there's another role that, you know, this Patrick's being affiliated with, and they're just assuming it's Hal Jordan, I don't know. That's the thing that makes me sus about this information. Nothing else. Everything else sort of lines up. This is the one that makes me sus. And then the final thing, there isn't a release date, but it's supposed to be the first show that airs after Superman Legacy. Now, I think we'd actually mentioned in the previous video that I assumed the same thing. I'm like, yeah, Lantern seems like the thing you would do, especially if it's meant to be this thing that sets up some of the biggest story going on the DCU. So maybe there's hints to it in Superman Legacy, or maybe even Creature Commandos, and then it plays out fully in the Lantern series. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I guess it depends on that Waller show, because as I said, it seemed like that was going to happen before Superman Legacy came out, but then the strikes happened, and that obviously would have delayed some things, while Creature Commandos had already pretty much done everything before the strikes happened. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be the first show now, but maybe before it was going to be, and Waller would have came before Superman Legacy, but I guess we'll wait and see. And the final thing to go over is some stuff apparently about Lobo. So this is what's being said. So there is a Lobo movie, specifically movie, in the works at DC Studios. Jason Momoa is signed on to star in and produce the film. The film is described to be a blend of Western and sci-fi, which sort of makes sense with the character. The plot follows Lobo hunting down a rogue Green Lantern while bonding with his daughter Crush. The movie is set to release within the back end of Chapter 1. Now, Jason Momoa, say the full name, he'd been on Jimmy Fallon recently, sort of promoting some other stuff, and also Aquaman, and I think he was on SNL. I think that was the main reason he was there. And he did mention that, like, Aquaman is pretty much over for him, basically, like him being Aquaman, but DC is, you know, always there for him to go back to. So I think it's pretty obvious he's going to be Lobo within this DCU. It just depends whether there's actually a specific Lobo project, or it's Lobo appearing in other projects. That's probably the big thing that we have to wait for. But I am interested to see when Gunn reveals the rest of Chapter 1. He didn't really say when that would happen, but for the sake of certain projects to publicly get moving, you know, you would think that might be something that would be needed. There is CCXP in South America very soon, like within the next couple of weeks or few weeks or something, so maybe he does it there, but that might be a bit unlikely. Or it could just be another online announcement like he did at the beginning of this year with the first projects where he announced Superman Legacy, Lanterns, Booster Gold, everything like that. You know, I'm sure these new projects that are yet to be announced would already be on like a whiteboard somewhere in James's office, but maybe there is just some things that he isn't 100% sure about that need more time to cook before being put out there publicly, like how things connect, whether this thing should come out before this thing, or whether this is the right time to release this project within this period of time, things like that. So that might be something that he's just sort of sitting back and waiting on. Now, obviously, in regards to that Lobo stuff, the blend of Western and sci-fi makes sense, as the next thing sort of says, like him hunting down. You know, he's a bounty hunter, so it makes sense that this would be the case, but obviously like space bounty hunter. So that's the cool thing about Lobo that you can do there. I think a series would fit more, but maybe Jason Momoa wouldn't want to do a series. But then again, he was doing like that Apple series, the C, was it C or something like that? Like he did that for ages, but then again, maybe he got paid a lot of money to do that. So maybe the money wouldn't be there to do a series for DC Studios, and it'd be more likely for him to do a film. But I think a series would work better for Lobo, in my opinion, at the very least. And you could do like an episodic thing, and you could have, I guess maybe that would be too similar to Mandalorian, and maybe that's why they wouldn't do it as a series. That just came to my head just then. That people might think they're copying the Mandalorian if they do a series. So maybe that's the smart thing, just to avoid angry people online, because you know how people are. So yeah, that might be why they're doing it. But him hunting down a rogue Green Lantern is interesting. I'd assume it'd be like a space one, not like a human Green Lantern, like some sort of crazy alien or whatever it'd be. I'm assuming that's what it'd be at the very least. But, you know, I'd be up for a Lobo movie if it's done well. And you can add some comedy there. I think Jason Momoa just fits it. Like, it just feels like he's the guy to play Lobo. But yeah, so it sounds cool based off that. But obviously, as I said, similar to the first thing with the Green Lantern stuff, take it with a grain of salt, but there's nothing sus there that makes me question it, like with the Green Lantern thing and the casting, because it goes against what I think many people and pretty much what's been hinted at in regards to who Hal Jordan's going to be and how old he's going to be. So yeah, nothing with the Lobo stuff seems that sus. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything where I went over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.